Awesome. So I'm thrilled to be your host tonight because our guest has one of the most inspiring journey I have ever come across. So from the moment I first spoke with Julius and completed reading the Resilient Code from his book, I was inspired by how completely he's lived the very lesson he shared with others. Losing sight in his late teens didn't stop him. He published his own book, built up his own YouTube channel and website, even the presentation and the PowerPoint you will see tonight. Julius has built an 18 years career in IT, working alongside business analysts on high impact projects. He is a certified result coach, speaker, and author with a framework for resilience born from his own life experience. So tonight, Julius will share strategies that go beyond the BA toolkit, helping you reframe challenges, find hidden strengths, and lead yourself with confidence. Welcome, Julius, and now the floor is all yours. So,
Thank you very much, Theora. Can you hear me?
yes, we all can hear you.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to this presentation entitled Unlocking the Resilience Code: 3 Secrets Every Business Analyst Should Know. I'm super excited about what you're going to learn today. Next slide, please. In case we haven't met before, my name is Julius Charles Serrano. I'm an internationally certified results coach, speaker, and author of the book, The Resilience Code. You'll also notice that I'm sometimes not looking at the camera. That's because I'm totally blind. And that's a huge part of the story that I will be sharing with you in our time together. But please rest assured that I'm speaking from my heart to yours. Next slide, please. Before we jump into the presentation, in the chat box, please type in one word that describes how you are feeling right now. Are you excited? Are you interested? Are you nervous? Are you curious? Drop one word. Curious. Nice. That's perfect.
Excited, intrigued.
Yes. Thank you so much for your presentation, your participation. I really appreciate it. Next slide, please. So here is my promise to you, my friend. You are going to learn how to gain control and feel clear and confident and truly fulfilled in your role as a business analyst. You will discover a simple yet powerful shift that can transform stressful, challenging situations into opportunities for growth and insight. And you will uncover how to tap into your existing strengths and tools to feel productive and energized every single day. If any of these things resonate with you, please drop a letter Y in the chat box right now. Y stands for yes. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Lots of why there. Everyone get on
Yes.
to it, Julius.
Awesome. Next slide, please. Now, let's start the presentation by creating a world-class learning environment. First of all, please put your phone on silent. Put your phone on silent. Close the door if you can, and exit any other programs and tabs in your machine. Second, please make sure that you have something to write on. Pieces of paper, a pen. Also, it can be a digital notepad. You are going to learn a lot of things here, and you will want to take a lot of notes in this presentation. And the third, most importantly, I want you to think of this presentation as an experience. Now, you may be sitting alone in a room right now, but please know that you are now part of an international community. a group of professionals committed to become more resilient. And you, right now, yes, my friend, I'm talking directly to you. You are a very important part of this community. Next slide, please. Now, let me share with you my story. Let's start the presentation by letting me share with you my story. Although my experience is personal, I'm sure that you faced struggles before in your life, struggles that are just as real. So, I was in my late teens when the world began to fade. One day, colors lost their sharpness, and the next day, the faces of people that I love blurred into shadows. And until one morning, I realized that I could no longer see my own reflection in the mirror. I did not just lose my eyesight, I lost my sense of certainty. And the future that I had imagined collapsed into darkness. It felt like I had been pushed into a dark world without a map, without preparation, and most of all, without a choice. And at first, I did what many people do during challenges, hardships, and adversity. I blamed, I resisted the situation, and I shut down emotionally. But over time, after a long period of emotional and mental struggle, after a long and painful period of silence and isolation, I discovered something unexpected. I discovered that even in the dark, I could still design my response, and I could still reframe what was happening, and I could become resourceful in ways that I've never imagined before. And that mindset changed everything, slowly changed everything. And from that turning point, principles that would later form the resilience code began to take shape. And I tested them quietly through real challenges, refined over years of personal growth. And this journey through darkness became my training ground for resilience. Resilience did not just help me cope, it also helped me grow, adapt, and thrive. And I carried that mindset through college, completing my studies with focus and determination. And when I later stepped into the world of IT, I found that the same principles applied just as powerfully in professional settings. And nearly 2 decades later, as a digital accessibility specialist, I led large scale projects, collaborating with business analysts. And once again, I saw the familiar patterns: pressure, ambiguity, uncertainty, change, and transition. And so my book, The Resilience Code, was created for moments exactly like that, for professionals exactly like you. Now, in the next stage of my career, as a certified results coach, I am wonderfully blessed to support and coach BAs and other professionals, not just in managing their roles, but in leading themselves with clarity, courage, and resilience. Because you might want to write this down, my friend. Even when the path is unclear, you still get to decide how you will walk it. Next slide, please. So, we're now talking about the problem. As I coached, business analysts and other professionals, and as I reflected on my own experiences, I discovered that there are three major problems that stop business analysts from becoming the most resilient and fulfilled version of themselves. Please write this down. The first problem is a lack of personal ownership. You know, many professionals feel stuck, drained, or unclear because they haven't been taught how to take control of their mindset, emotion, and direction. The second problem is that business analysts tend to stay stuck in emotional reactivity. Stressful situations and difficult stakeholders lead to frustration, self doubt, and burnout. And these things and factors block your performance and ruin your relationships at work. And the third problem is underutilizing existing strengths and resources. Even highly skilled BAs often overlook the tools that they already have within them. And this leads to wasted energy and stalled momentum. Next slide, please. And what I've discovered is when professionals like you learn to solve these three challenges and problems, everything begins to shift. You will develop a stronger mindset. You will feel clear and in control, and you will have consistent and focused momentum. And this will enable you to become the most effective member of your team and position you as a valuable leader in your organization. And more importantly, it will help you create an exciting path forward to the next level of your career and to a life of real fulfillment. So let us now unlock the resilience code to overcoming challenges and mastering your mindset as business analysts. Next slide, please. The three secrets. What I have for you in this presentation are three secrets from the resilience code, specifically calibrated for the unique challenges and opportunities that business analysts face every day. You must know these three secrets in order to become absolutely resilient and fulfilled in your work and in your life. Please write this down. The first secret is the ownership advantage. The second secret is the reframe factor. And the third secret is the resource radar. We're going to dive deep into each of these secrets right now. So let's dive into the first secret, the ownership advantage. Next slide, please. Secret number one. So, what is the ownership advantage? The ownership advantage is the practice of taking full responsibility for your mindset, your behavior, and your outcomes, no matter what challenges or constraints that you are facing. It is about claiming ownership, about how you respond, how you lead yourself, and how you move forward. So, what does this really mean for you as a business analyst? It means recognizing that you might not control everything around you, but you always have control over your thoughts, your reactions, and your choices. This shift can be subtle, but it is powerful. And why does this matter for you as a business analyst? As a BA, you are often in the middle of competing priorities, changing requirements, and sometimes conflicting stakeholders. Have you ever experienced conflict in the stakeholders? So it's easy to feel like you're caught between forces outside your control. But when you take ownership of your responses and your influence and your emotions, you move from feeling stuck and drained to feeling clear, proactive, and respected. So, how do you practice the ownership advantage? Next slide, please. Here are three steps to practicing the ownership advantage. First step is to quit the blame game. When a requirement changes or a project hits friction, I encourage you to let go of the urge to blame others or even yourself. Instead, I encourage you to ask yourself these empowering questions. Questions like, what's within my control here? Or what's one action that I can take right now? Step two, watch out for hidden excuses. Excuses can manifest as quiet thoughts. Quiet thoughts such as, hmm, that stakeholder blocks projects anyway. Or one of the most common excuse that we have, I'm not the one who makes that decision. I encourage you to challenge those thoughts and ask yourself, what might I be avoiding? Or another clarifying question, what can I influence here? And now the step three in practicing the ownership advantage, embrace accountability. What is accountability? Accountability means owning both your wins and your losses and gaps. Accountability is simply saying to yourself and even to your colleagues, I will get clarity on that. Saying things like, I could have done better, or here is my next step. I'd like to be accountable for it. So, when it comes to the ownership advantage, I just want to share you a bit of my story. So, right after I lost my sight, I did what many people did. I did what many people do in difficult times. I pointed the finger at everyone and everything. I blamed my genetics. I blamed the doctors. I blamed my school. I blamed the environment. But I realized that I was not taking ownership and I was not taking full responsibility. And blaming did not restore my sight. Oh no, it did not. Blaming also robbed me of the power to move forward. It caused many sleepless nights and it robbed me of my inner peace. The turning point came when I realized that I did not choose to become blind, but I could choose how I would respond to the situation of becoming blind. And that's when things started to change. I stopped fixating on what I could not do, and I started asking, what can I still do now? And that shift from resistance to responsibility was the first step in building the resilience that I now share with you in this presentation. So that is the first secret. And please drop a number 2 in the chat box if you're ready to learn about the second secret to unlocking the resilience code. Drop a number 2 in the chat box.
I can see a wave of number 2 is coming through. Look like everyone with us, Julius.
Wonderful. Next slide, please. Secret number 2. The second secret to unlocking the resilience code is something that I call the reframe factor. Please write this down, the reframe factor. The reframe factor is the ability to shift how you see a challenge so you can approach it with more wisdom, clarity, and possibility. It is about consciously choosing a different angle, a new lens, so to speak, so that instead of staying stuck in emotional reactivity, you uncover a more empowering story and a more creative solution. I want you to think of it this way, my friend. Reframing is like adjusting the zoom on your camera. From one perspective, a situation at work may seem impossible, infuriating, or even overwhelming. But zoom out, change the angle, and suddenly there's new context, new information, new options. And why does this matter for you as a business analyst? The reframe factor is a powerful tool that BAs like you can develop because how you interpret a situation directly shapes how you would respond to it. As a business analyst, you are constantly shifting between perspectives, business needs, technical constraints, user goals. And the ability to reframe helps you make smarter and faster decisions. Instead of getting pulled into frustration and tunnel vision, reframing trains your mind to look for clarity and meaning, especially when things feel chaotic and messy. Reframing lets you turn conflict into insight. It also helps you find the real question hiding underneath unclear requirements. And reframing also helps you shift from what's wrong in this situation to what's possible now. So, how do you practice the reframe factor? Next slide, please. Here's a simple 3-step process that you can start using immediately. It's from my book, The Resilience Code. The first step is to identify the challenge. Write it down in a sentence, as short as possible. If the situation is emotionally charged, acknowledge the emotions, but lovingly let them go. Focus on the facts and the information. Then the next step is to try on a fresh lens. This means that you need to ask, what would my mentor say in this issue? How would my best colleague approach this situation? Or here's the best question: what would the most effective, the wisest version of me see in this issue? Now, when it comes to the step number 2, here's a suggestion: change your physical environment. Go outside, move to another room temporarily. A new space can create new perspectives. And the third step is to apply the insight. Once you're done with the second step, bring the most empowering view back into your own mind. Ask yourself, what strength or option did you just uncover from the second step of trying on a fresh perspective? Use that to reshape how you react and how you lead others through the issue. Now, when it comes to the reframe factor, I just want to share my experience as I discovered this principle. Several months into losing my eyesight, I felt increasingly disconnected. I began to believe that I was a burden to my family and my friends. I believed that I could not contribute anything meaningful anymore. But as I was just hanging around at home, the TV was on. A single news story about a typhoon in the Philippines, where I was born, and how survivors framed their experience, just captivated me and grabbed a hold of my mind. In that news story about the typhoon, some groups who were affected blamed the environment, was not happy about the support of the government. Basically, they were full of hatred and hopelessness. And in that same news story, another group of affected individuals in that province, they were focusing on the support that they had for each other. They were focusing on the fact that they survived, although they lost all of their physical belongings. They were thankful for the support of the government. They were they still had each other, and they were hopeful that they would get through that difficult situation. It was one event, a typhoon, and it was two entirely different perspectives. And as I was listening to that, this caused a shift in me. I realized that I have been looking at my situation through a disempowering, narrow lens. And so I began to see new ways that I can offer value to my family and my friends through listening deeply, remembering details, memorizing things, and being emotionally present to those around me. That new perspective did not erase the challenge and the difficulties of becoming blind, but it absolutely changed how I moved through it. And it taught me that sometimes what needs changing is not a problem, but how we see it. So you've just learned about the second secret to unlocking the resilience code. That was the reframe factor. Now, on we go to the third secret. Please drop a number 3 in the chat box if you're ready to learn about the third secret to unlocking the resilience code.
We got number 3 rolling from everyone, everywhere here. The energy definitely here tonight, Julius.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, next slide, please. Secret number 3, the resource radar. So, the resource radar is your ability to spot, activate, and maximize the resources that you already have, even in times of scarcity or pressure. For business analysts, this means tuning into your unique mix of knowledge, relationships, tools, and creative instinct in order to keep projects moving forward. The resource radar is not about working harder. It is about becoming more clever with what's already within your reach. I'm sure that you can appreciate that in the pressure of delivery deadlines or limited access to decision makers, it is easy to forget your strengths, ignore what's working, and wait for external support. With the resource radar, you will start illuminating the things that you can use right now, the strengths and skills that you have that you may be underutilizing, and areas that you can get creative. Now, here is why the resource radar is very important to you as a business analyst. BA work oftentimes require input from others, but I'm sure that you can appreciate that delays in stakeholder input should not paralyze progress. Resourcefulness helps you move forward anyway, and knowing how to extract insights from limited data gives you a major edge. So, here's the 3 steps to activating your resource radar. Next slide, please. So the 3 steps in activating the resource radar. The first step is to run a resource. The first step is to run a rapid resource scan. This means that you need to list out all of the non-obvious assets that you can bring to a current challenge. This could include a stakeholder that you've built trust with, previous project learnings, and your ability to translate between technical and non-technical language. Let's pause here. I just want to take a moment to appreciate your ability as business analysts to translate between technical and non-technical language. I absolutely love that skill of yours. Resources also consists of the skills of your team. Now, the second step, once you've run a rapid resource scan, experiment. Find a small way to test an idea, concept, or structure, even before formal sign off. Resourceful business analysts don't wait for the perfect briefing to pilot solutions. And the third step in implementing the resource radar, mind feedback and patterns. Look back at moments where you've added value in surprising ways. Now, I encourage you to reflect. Where did you thrive despite not having all of the input? That's a very important and clarifying question. What situations did you thrive in despite not having all of the input. Now, I encourage you to use that data to refine your instinct for what to try next. Next slide, please. Now, here's Rebecca's story. Rebecca is a business analyst in an IT company in Christchurch. When Rebecca came to me, she felt very stuck. She was overwhelmed by shifting priorities, unclear requirements, and constant stakeholder tension. Rebecca said, Julius, I feel like I'm just reacting all day. I feel unfulfilled and I've lost my spark. And through our coaching, we started with the ownership advantage. I helped Rebecca stop blaming the chaos around her and began taking full responsibility for how she responded. And this alone gave her a renewed sense of empowerment. And then she used the reframe factor. Instead of seeing pushback from stakeholders as resistance, she started seeing it as a sign to ask better questions and clarify what really mattered. Her conversations at work became more strategic and less stressful and even more enjoyable. And finally, she activated her resource radar. She stopped waiting for perfect input and started using what was already within reach. This included past learnings, available tools, and support from peers who she hadn't leaned on before. And what's the change? Well, within weeks, Rebecca felt more confident, respected, and energized in her role. She did not change her job. She did not change any major thing in her job. She simply changed how she led herself through it. And that made all of the difference. And my friend, that's the power of these three secrets. When you practice them and implement them, not just understand them and know about them, everything starts to change. So, my friend, let's pause for a moment. Let's take a deep breath and let's move on to the next slide. What you've learned right now. You've just picked up three secrets that can help you become more resilient, more resourceful, and more fulfilled as a business analyst and as a human being. You've learned that resilience is about choosing ownership, reframing your story, and activating the strengths that you already have within you. Even in uncertain conditions, especially in uncertain conditions. Now, these are daily practices. They are a way of life. They are tools that you now have in your BA toolkit. And here's the truth, my friend. Here's the truth that I want you to carry. You don't have to wait for a better manager, a perfect, a perfect briefing, or a more ideal project. You can start showing up with more clarity, courage, and creativity right now. So you might ask, so Julius, what's next? Next slide, please. I'm sure that you can appreciate that resilience is not something that you're born with. It is something that you build. And like any powerful skill, it grows faster when you are in the right environment. That's why I'd love to work with your team or your organization, whether it's a keynote, a workshop, or a team session. I create tailored experiences that transform and empower professionals like you. Simply send me an email at hello@juliusserrano.com. That's hello, HELLO, at JULIUSSERRANO.com. We'll be sharing with you my email address right now. I would be honored to bringing this life-changing message to your event or your team. And, my friend, if the three secrets resonated with you, you will find even more tools in the 12 chapters and tools and practical strategies in the 12 chapters of my book, The Resilience Code. And if you're looking for regular insights and strategies to stay clear, grounded, and in momentum, I encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You will find fresh tools and reflections for professionals like you who want to become more resilient and more fulfilled. Next slide, please. So please remember, whichever path you take next, please remember this. You are stronger and more resilient than you realize. And the more you trust in that, the more powerful and fulfilled you will become. Last slide, please. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you for sharing your time with me. I will see you in the next event, the next chapter, or the next video. Sharing principles about resilience and fulfillment is one of the biggest joys of my life. So I really appreciate you taking your time to spend and learn about resilience with me. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Julius. And it's such a powerful and it's truly emerging experience for me, and I believe for all the audience here tonight with us. And thank you for create a safe space for all of us and for yourself to be vulnerable with us. It's like you let us into your world and let us be present with you in the video, in the call with you. And I have read your book, but the energy and the connection you brought tonight have taken its impact to another level. And now we'd love to hear from our audience as well. So we got around 20 minutes for the questions. So please send it through on the Slido or upvote the one you'd like the answer. And next slide, please. So we will we already have a number of questions on here. So I will start with the first questions. Are you ready, Julius?
Absolutely.
Yes. So the first one, what one's resilient habit we can start practicing today? What one's resilient habit we can start practicing today? I believe like lots
Absolutely.
of people have like job hunting and career switching at the moment. So
So one resilience habit that you can practice right now. Excellent question. So let's go back to the three secrets. It depends. So when a situation comes that you did not expect, simply taking full responsibility for that. So you are responsible for your emotions, whatever happens. So that is one resilience habit that you can practice right now. Of
always
course, there are situations where you need to react and where you need to express your emotions. In the Resilience Code, the first chapter, actually, I provide a framework for expressing and providing space for your emotions. Because, when it comes to resilience, we experience a lot of things, hardships and difficulties, struggles, small ones, huge ones. Being able to manage your emotions and taking full responsibility is one of the best resilience habits that you can perform as an individual. So when it comes to the resilience habit, being able to master your emotions, that is one of the best habits that you can have.
That's great advice. That definitely emotion is the thing you can control. First of all, right? Like nothing external. Of course you can, but the thing you advised us earlier, what you control is your behavior, your emotion, how you respond to things. Definitely is something we have to remind ourselves all the time. So the second question is here for you, Julius. If someone feels stuck after multiple job rejections, what a practical step they can take to bounce back? So if somebody feels stuck
Multiple
after
job. Okay. Mhm,
multiple job redirection,
mhm.
what a practical step they can take to bounce back?
Excellent question. I would like to suggest the second secret, the reframe factor. Because when you experience multiple job rejections, one of the things that I've discovered that people experience, I've experienced multiple rejections before. When you change your perspective into the most supportive and loving friend that you can have, so I've experienced multiple rejections now, people not responding to my applications, people not hiring me. The first thing that you need to do is to discover and reflect, what would the most encouraging friend that I have say in this situation? How would the most resilient person that I know handle this situation? Give yourselves a few moments to reflect, because in that space, you will not only feel encouraged, you will also feel insights. You will also receive insights in the strategies that you will take in that situation.
That's such a powerful tool you have there, reframe the challenges. And I believe like all of us here not being alone, we all have a trusted friend to turn into and share your issues and you can all unpack the problem together.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's very powerful tool you have there. So we have a next question here from Greg. From your own life and coaching experience, what most holds people back from taking the next step forward in times of chaos and challenges?
That's an excellent question. Let me think for a few seconds. Emotions. Emotions are what holds people back the most, particularly the emotion of fear. Now, when it comes to fear, it's the one that prevents people from taking action. When it comes to fear, um, allowing it, allowing it to run its course, not stopping it, not suppressing it, admitting to ourselves that yes, I'm experiencing fear right now. And in that situation of allowing the emotion, you will be able to have a quiet moment wherein the fear is going to teach you something. It could be, fear of rejection. It could be fear of the process. What kind of fear is that? Because when you know what kind of fear that is, then it's going to teach you what you need to do in that situation.
Yeah, that's definitely. And I also can remember one of your first insight in your first secret is like you embrace your loss and win and
Mhm,
allowed it, give you a lesson, and then you move on from it. Instead of
mhm.
asking what's wrong, you can like ask what possible now? What is the opportunity, the challenge bring to you, right? Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's very good questions there, Greg. So next questions here we have. Can you share more story about your career journey? How did you identify the career pathway for yourself and what
Mhm,
major obstacles have you overcome? Thank you.
mhm. Excellent question. So, after because I lost my sight in my late teens, I was unsure of whether or not I would be able to pursue higher education. But after building that resilience, things started to change. I was blessed. I was blessed to discover assistive technology. So I first took a course in one of actually the only computer school for the blind and the visually impaired back in the Philippines. And when I discovered the wonder of assistive technology using screen readers, that opened a lot of possibilities. So that technology was the main reason why I was able to go to college and study computer science. course, there were many struggles because not all professors understood. That was the first struggle. How do I communicate that I'm able to do it? How do I communicate that this technology is able to do it? So that's the struggle right there because I wasn't a very confident individual as I was growing up. Communicating. So how did I overcome that struggle? I simply prepared, visualized how I would be able to sit down and have a conversation with the professors because I was not very confident and I wanted to really communicate to them to gain at least their trust that I could do the courses. And after, fast forward after graduating college, I also experienced multiple job rejections because not every company in the Philippines and also in other countries as well um, have confidence that a blind person would be able to perform the tasks, especially when it comes to using computers. But there will always be somebody in a thousand no's. I remember, in a thousand no's, there will be a golden yes. So it's just a numbers game. How many no's would I be able to face until I get to that yes? It's just a matter of taking action because after rejection, after rejection, there is bound to be a company or an organization who would understand, who would give you a chance. So that's a quick overview of my journey when it comes to like studies and profession. Of course, I've already told you about my journey in losing my sight, but that's a quick overview as well as the major adversity and hardships that I had to overcome.
That's such an inspiring like journey there, and I believe everyone here is waiting for that golden yes, and just a matter how many no you can face, right? So I'm just a bit concerned about the time, so
Mhm.
we will have last two questions
All right.
before we grab up for the night. So the next question for you is, how do you want your audience to feel after applying the resilient code in their own lives?
I want I want you to feel that you can overcome any adversity with the right structure. I want you to feel that whether it's a small adversity, whether it's an adversity in any life area, financial, emotional, relationship, even health, that with the right structure, you will be able to overcome any adversity. So, it really depends on you. Do you feel encouraged? Do you feel confident? Do you feel inspired? These are just some of the emotions that you will be able to experience once you've overcome the adversity. The first step is having structure.
Thank you. Thank you to bring that clarity to such a complexity, emotion, reactivity sometimes we probably all the time we have to face with. And that's beautiful answer for the questions. I can see another interesting questions here I would like to add on for the last two questions. So from Greg, I saw the video of you bungee jumping, and I'm curious to know what was going through your mind when you make
Ah,
the jump.
wow, wow. You know, uh, thank you for that question. That's one of the videos that I would say I'm happiest about. I'm most proud of when it comes to like the bungee jump. What was going through my mind? I'm just experiencing that right now again. So, of course, there's excitement. There's a little bit of nervousness, but it's like the conversations that I would be able to share with my children and my family. It's the feeling that I could go back to whenever I felt nervous It's the confidence that if I could jump 40 plus meters down um, from a high structure, then maybe, just maybe, I could do this particular task right here in front when I'm working or when I'm coaching or when I'm speaking.
Awesome. If you can make that jump, anything else you can do it.
Absolutely.
That exactly what I getting from what you say, and I can feel it as well. And last but not least, the questions here. So, have you ever feel exhausted from being resilient, and how can we sustain this mindset and practice? How you personally manage stress or avoid burnout?
Mhm.
Julius?
I'm very interested in that, like exhausted from being resilient. I'd like to know more um about that question. But let's okay. So when it comes to resilience, rather than being exhausted, it energizes you because it gives you greater insight on the adversity. We all know that resilience is the ability to overcome adversity and hardship and bounce back. And more than bouncing back, it enables you to move forward and become a better version of yourself. In that situation, yes, there will be times when you feel physically and mentally exhausted. Let's acknowledge that. But when you build resilience, you actually become stronger, you become more confident, you become wiser, and you step into a place of growth and contribution. Because when you become resilient, then you'll see other people's experiences and you can share with them suggestions and recommendations on how they can overcome their adversity.
Nice one. It's like a get out of your comfort zone and be
Mhm,
better versions of yourself. And then you can come back and have the people have experienced the same journey as you, right?
mhm,
That what I learned from the whole story and the whole insights we get from tonight as well from you, Julius.
mhm.
So thank you again, Julius, for sharing your journey and the lesson behind a resilient code. And tonight has been a roller coaster for me. It's very inspiring, practical, and absolutely powerful reminder of how much mindset can shape our success. And to everyone here, thank you so much for showing up, engaging. And if we didn't get to your questions, or if you still have burning questions, please connect with us on LinkedIn, Meetup, and YouTube channel where the recording will be available shortly. We'd love for the conversation to continue beyond tonight. So if you enjoyed tonight's session, please spread the good word and stay tuned for our next event. Thanks again, everyone, and have a wonderful evening. Thank you.